All right, let's talk about something that feels like it's straight out of a movie, but it's a very real consideration for strategists and, survivalists. It's a heavy topic for sure, but an absolutely fascinating one. So let's dive in.
I mean, it's the ultimate doomsday question, right? If the absolute unthinkable were to happen, where on this entire planet could you actually go to ride out the storm? Well, the answers might surprise you, and they reveal a powerful truth. Survival isn't just about getting lucky.
You see, the countries we're about to count down, they all kind of share this secret recipe for resilience. They're shielded by remote geography. They're protected by a long history of political neutrality. And, this is key, they have the ability to take care of themselves. That's what makes them the most durable places on Earth in a crisis.
Okay, kicking off our countdown at number 5, we're heading to a small, isolated nation nestled high up in the Himalayas. Welcome to Bhutan, a kingdom that's basically been fortified by nature itself.
So what's Bhutan's secret sauce? Well, first off, it's geography. This place is a natural fortress, tucked away in the highest mountains on Earth, which makes it incredibly hard to get to. Politically, Bhutan has stayed completely neutral through its entire history. It's never been in a single war. Plus, with no military bases or nuclear facilities, it's just not on anyone's list of targets. And on top of all that, it's self-sufficient with food and water and famously puts gross national happiness ahead of GDP. That fosters a culture of real peace and stability.
And get this, Bhutan's constitution actually requires that at least 60% of the country has to always be covered in forest. Now, you might think, okay, that's great for the environment, but it's so much more than that. It's a survival strategy. This incredible commitment makes the country even more self-reliant and isolated from global chaos. It's no wonder it's the only carbon-negative country in the world.
All right, let's move on to number 4. Now, if Bhutan's safety comes from being peacefully tucked away, our next country gets there through careful, active preparation. We're heading to Europe, to the legendary alpine fortress, Switzerland.
So, Switzerland's whole game plan is built in layers. For starters, it declared neutrality way back in 1815 and has stayed out of NATO. Geographically, the Alps are a massive natural wall. But here's the human part. The country has this policy of armed neutrality, with mandatory military training for its citizens. The goal isn't to start a fight, but to make invading so painful that nobody would ever think it's worth it. And just like Bhutan, no nuclear targets, and they've mastered being self-sufficient.
Now this is where Switzerland's strategy gets kind of mind-blowing. The country has over 300,000 nuclear fallout shelters. That's enough room for every single citizen. And that's not just about protecting people. It's sending a message. An attack won't break us. The whole nation is literally designed to endure, which basically removes the incentive for anyone to attack in the first place.
Okay, for our number 3 spot, we're shifting gears from a country protected by its own design to a place protected by international agreement. We're going way north, deep into the Arctic Circle, to Svalbard, a Norwegian archipelago that's so remote, it's almost like it exists in a different world.
The key to what makes Svalbard so uniquely safe is the Svalbard Treaty of 1920. So what it does is it confirms that Norway is in charge, but, and this is a big but, it legally makes the entire area a completely demilitarized zone. All the major world powers signed it. They can do peaceful science and business there, but absolutely no military stuff is allowed. It's basically neutrality written into international law.
But wait, there's another, almost sci-fi layer to its protection. Svalbard is home to the global seed vault, a fail-safe backup of pretty much all the world's crops. Just think about that for a second. That makes Svalbard humanity's insurance policy. Attacking it would mean attacking the future of food for every single nation on Earth. That gives the entire planet a very good reason to keep it safe. Coming in hot at number 2, we're journeying from the complex politics of the North to the beautiful simplicity of the South. Here, the greatest strength is just distance. A whole lot of it. Let's talk about New Zealand, a true distant haven.
New Zealand's main shield is the vast Pacific Ocean. It doesn't share a land border with anyone, which makes it an incredibly difficult and frankly unimportant target from a strategic point of view. You add to that a stable government, being self-sufficient in food and energy, and a lack of major military targets, and you've got a pretty safe place to be. But there's one really bold policy that takes its security to a whole other level.
And this, right here, is the real game changer, the 1987 Nuclear Free Zone Law. This policy flat out forbids any ship with nuclear weapons or nuclear power from entering its waters. This isn't just a symbolic gesture.
This principled stand actively takes New Zealand off the chessboard for nuclear powers. If you're not even in the game, you can't be a target.
And now, for the #1 safest country in a global nuclear conflict, it's an island nation that really combines all the best survival traits we've seen into one ultimate safe haven. It's a place defined by fire, ice, and an incredible commitment to peace. It's Iceland.
So why does Iceland take the top spot? It's the perfect storm of safety factors. You've got extreme isolation out in the North Atlantic. It has no standing army of its own. Its foreign policy is peaceful and non-interventionist, which means it has no built-in enemies. It's completely self-sufficient for energy because of its unique geology, and that same volcanic terrain provides incredible natural shelters. To put it simply, there's just no strategic or political reason for anyone to attack Iceland. It is the very definition of a low-value target. You know, when you lay it all out like this, the pattern becomes crystal clear, doesn't it? Whether it's the insane isolation of New Zealand and Svalbard, the hardcore neutrality of Switzerland, or the all-around resilience of Iceland, these are the ingredients for survival. It's not about being the strongest, it's about being strategically irrelevant.
So the big takeaway from all of this is pretty clear. Surviving a global catastrophe isn't about having the biggest army. It's about being far away from everyone, staying out of fights, being able to feed your own people, and, frankly, just not being important enough to be a target in the first place.
And that leaves us with one last, really provocative thought to chew on. As our world gets more and more interconnected every single day, does this logic of isolation still hold up? Or does our global network mean that when a real crisis hits, there's truly nowhere left to hide? A question worth pondering.